Welcome, new facilitators, to the Lifeskills for Students Career Mentoring Program. Our program produces results, and it's our goal to provide the very best of hands-on training combined with other tools to guarantee your success. Lifeskills relies heavily on the underlying philosophy of Howard Gardner, who introduced the theory of multiple intelligences. Gardner challenges us to look at intelligence in different ways. Rather than the conventional way of just looking at two intelligences, math and verbal, he suggests that there are 7, and later he modified that to 8. The challenge for us as educators is to take the concepts that Gardner suggests and connect the dots for the students. Few would argue that individualized learning makes sense, but the problem is it's not cost effective and it's also labor intensive. So what we do at Lifeskills is we offload a lot of the heavy lifting to the technology and to other templates, which frees you up as a teacher to spend one-on-one time with the student. We start with a given. A student's strength and passion is the best catalyst for his learning. What does that look like? And how do we introduce mentors into the equation? And how does mentoring work? All too often we oversimplify and we just take somebody from column A and match them up with somebody from column B. But this is guaranteed to fail. It has as much success as a blind date because it doesn't take into account the chemistry, the student's strength, and the student's need to understand a discovery process. Let's talk about the process. The student is directed through a series of ambitious curriculum units, and we expect a high level of response. Well, how can we do this and not overburden you as the facilitator? Our goal is for you, the facilitator, to spend 75% of your time working one-on-one with the student, to draw her out, to understand what her strengths and passions are. Now, I can hear a lot of teachers out there saying, you know what, that's just not realistic. But what we do is we change the way we deploy our work effort in terms of how we work with the students. Let's hear what some facilitators have to say about how they work with students.
Being a facilitator is really interesting, in my opinion. It's really rewarding. It can be really challenging at times. But I think the biggest thing for me is just keeping in mind that every student is different. You're going to have a spectrum of students that you work with as a facilitator. You're going to have kids who have been, obsessed with one field since they were like 7 years old. They haven't deviated from that one bit, and they're actively doing stuff to put themselves in a position when they get to college to succeed in that field. You're also going to get the other end of the spectrum, where you have a person who hasn't given the time of day to the thought of the future or what they're going to do in college or anything. And then you're going to have everything in between. And so, as a facilitator, you don't have a one-size-fits-all type of mentality because it doesn't work that way. People don't fit in categories. We were working in a public school recently, and the general stereotype that you would have there, because it's an alternative high school, is they're at the lower end of the spectrum. They haven't thought about college, they haven't thought about their future. And for some of them that was definitely true, but you also had some people who really were at the upper end of the spectrum. They knew what they wanted to do. And so my approach changed for each person. For the one person in particular that I'm thinking of at the upper end of the spectrum, she knew that she wanted to be a marine biologist. Not your typical career aspiration, but a pretty cool one nonetheless. And so with someone like that who had already put themselves in potential situations to help build the resume and stuff, the facilitator's job is more of encouraging them and also asking questions that maybe they overlooked. Like, how does this impact you financially in the future? How will it impact your family? Can you sustain this job and start a family? Just stuff like that maybe high schoolers don't think of right off the bat. And then the reward that you get from that is when that person realizes that what they're aspiring to be is a reality and they can actually become that. That's kind of the golden moment for me, at least. On the other end of the spectrum, you have people who's just like, hey, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? I don't know. Great, all right. I don't either, I'm not you, so let's try to figure it out. And then, you kind of have to start from scratch, but that's okay too. And, a lot of times this semester when I was helping out, I encountered resistance. I like to affectionately call the role that I have to take the enforcer. You have to kind of push them along the path that Mr. Hall was showing you. It's like, all right, well, what do you like? I don't like anything. That's not true. Okay, so what do you like? Like, just give me something. And then so like, all right, well, I like sports or whatever. It's like, all right, well, let's roll with that. how can we relate sports to something that you can do that will be meaningful to you in the future? And so as you bring them along this timeline, so to speak, you know, they start to gain a little bit of momentum, and they're just like, all right, well, I haven't really thought about this before, but okay, I could see myself being a sports journalist or something like that. And they're like, all right, great, well, let's get you some mentors to work with. And then they start interviewing, and then you kind of ask them, it's just like, well, is that something you could see yourself doing? It's like, yeah, it is. Awesome. Or no, it's not. It's like, okay, well, that's great. Now you know that. You're farther along than you were before. And so you just keep pushing them. And then I think really the goal for that, and like the kind of the golden moment, in my opinion, for people like that is just when they realize, okay, I now have at least a couple options that I can I can tangibly make my own career if I so choose, which is, again, farther than they were in the beginning of the school year.
It's difficult for the kids to learn what the program is all about, and you have to explain it a lot, particularly if you're a first-time facilitator like I was. It's hard to sort of unpack exactly what this program is, everything that it entails. So a lot of the commitments you get at the beginning, yes, you know, Jeremy, I'd love to be a part of this program. They're sort of soft commitments.
From the kids?
From the kids. Maybe the parents don't fully understand what the program is either, even if you communicate it multiple times. And so, you know, I think we had it with 2 students. One communicated to us explicitly, you know, this just isn't what I need right now. I'm not ready for this. Another one just sort of flaked out. And as a facilitator, it's hard not to get discouraged when that happens. But you just have to take the good with the bad.
You will have access to instructional videos for each curriculum unit. The students can either look at these online, or you can look at them as a group by watching a DVD. Now realistically, anyone can teach them content about resumes and web pages, but only you can facilitate giving birth to their ideas. We use the term facilitator in an engaged learning model. Therefore, it's our job as facilitators to design the right mix of mentors for the student. We cannot expect 15 or 16-year-olds to know how to network, to ask the right questions, or to even find the mentors. Finding the right mix of mentors is really a crucial part of the program. In fact, it's an art form. It's really hard work. And I can hear many of you saying, I knew there was going to be a catch. But we at Lifeskills have developed technology templates that really make this very easy and fun. The parent network is your best source for finding mentors, simply because parents have a vested interest in your success. And mentors find it more engaging to work with students when there's a personal connection. Why is this true? First, it's always easier to approach a mentor as a friend. There's more of an obligation to respond when you know someone. Not to mention, it's a whole lot easier for the student, too.
I definitely think mentoring is great, and I think if you have a chance to mentor, do it. I think, honestly, for my dad, I think the true enjoyment he gets is not for himself or building a program. I think it's just that he helped me. I think my dad loves reading my articles. He loves seeing how I'm doing. My dad never talks about himself, never. And I think he gets true enjoyment out of helping someone else. So I think if you're looking to be a mentor, I think just getting the enjoyment of helping someone out and turning their life around and recognizing, you know, their true passion, I think is what you really can get out of that. And I'm sure nothing can really beat that kind of feeling, knowing that you help someone achieve their goal.
Second, as individuals, we have a limited number of contacts, but we increase that number exponentially when we reach out to parents in their network. Over time, your school or organization may develop a good mentoring database. However, it's good to occasionally infuse it with new blood to enhance your mentoring pool. Finding the right mentor pool is really a function of where you start, simply because you can't build that mentor pool unless you understand what the need is. And for that reason, we recommend that you do the strength assessments and finish them at least 2 weeks prior to the parent kickoff meeting. The first and most important task for you to do after you've completed your strength assessments is to do a catalog of all the mentor inventory needs. Now, what I mean by this is you take each student and identify his or her mentoring needs and compile that into a list. Now, we recommend that you use an Excel spreadsheet or something like it because you can always attach it to an email. You can use our invitation template to send to parents, or you can develop your own. But whatever the case, you need to get the parents' email address from the students when you're doing their strength assessments. You'll need to become familiar with the instructional videos. You'll learn more about these in your one-on-one training. Students can either view these online, or you can choose to look at them as a group by watching a DVD, and then you can facilitate discussion. The Parent Kickoff is a vital part of the Career Mentoring Program. It's an actual launch, and it's so important because parents need to become your partners. They have so much to gain by your success. Our objective is to make the Parent Kickoff meeting a push-button experience for you. And by that I mean, we don't want you to feel that you have to do any work. We've developed a video that you can share with the parents which outlines the objectives of the program. But it's always appropriate and encouraged for you to add your own flair by sharing your own ideas. The primary objective of the Parent Kickoff meeting is for you, the facilitator, to obtain mentor contact names. So lesson 1, don't walk away from that meeting without the names. Now don't allow parents to say, "I'll get back to you." Remember, this is a fishing expedition, and you don't come home from a fishing trip without the fish. The most important document that you'll need for the Parent Kickoff meeting is the inventory of mentor skill sets. We had talked about this earlier. This is the document that lists all the mentor skill sets that you'll need for each student. Lesson 2, don't leave that room without getting some form of information from the parents. Let's talk a little bit about how to use the online applications for Lifeskills. Let's go to the Lifeskills home site. You'll notice as you navigate down the page, there's a link asking the individual if they would like to sign up as a mentor. This is the section that I want you to focus on. Now ideally, parents can actually click on this link during the meeting and enter the mentor information. Or you can ask them to sign up and write down the information, and you can go back later and key it in. Why do we do this? After the process is done, we're able to create a spreadsheet with all the information the students need to know about the mentors. I'd like to talk for a moment about how to use Excel to your advantage. If you're familiar with another spreadsheet, that's fine. Feel free to use it. Excel is fairly universal, and I think it's a good one to use. When you open the mentor spreadsheet, the first thing you want to do is filter all the fields. This will enable you to sort in any number of ways. Secondly, you want to think about how you want to sort your information. Do you want to sort it in order of mentor need, or do you want to do it in the alphabetical order of your students? Or maybe you have a mix of students who are juniors or seniors and you want to do juniors first or seniors second. Think about how you want to categorize your information in your spreadsheet and allow Excel to do it for you. Lifeskills has developed a textbook, or more specifically an iBook, and it operates on the Mac operating system. What this means is students who have an iPad can view their textbook on their iPad. And for those who don't have an iPad, we can print a conventional hard copy for them to read as well. The materials are copyrighted, which means that you'll have access to them during the time that the contract is in place. If you choose not to renew the contract, the DVDs have to be returned, and we can facilitate that. Recognition and celebration is the final chapter in the Lifeskills Career Mentoring Program. We've devoted a separate instructional video to share ideas with you, both those that are simple to do as well as those that are more challenging. The sky's the limit. We recommend that you form a user group to share ideas. Maybe you can partner with other schools or other groups who are doing the program so that you can challenge each other with new ideas. We suggest that you form synergies within your own school or organization. For example, you can partner with the communications and video group to take videos of students and their success stories. Finally, this is a pass the baton moment. You want to take the information that the student learned during his career mentoring process and then channel that or filter that into a college research process.
Training the facilitator is the starting point of the Lifeskills Career Mentoring Program. This includes the underlying philosophy and strategies to guarantee success of the program. Lifeskills uses Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence as its overarching concept. It is our conviction that a student's strength and passion is the best catalyst for his learning. In an engaged learning module, the traditional role of a teacher can be thought of as a facilitator to facilitate the student's growth process. The goal for the facilitator is to design a mentoring program for each student based upon her strengths and passions. There are several technologies and strategies that will guide you through the process. Instructional videos can be viewed by students independently or in a group setting. An iBook is available for students who have an iPad. Otherwise, a hard copy textbook will be available to the facilitator. This ebook will be interactive. You will be able to create your mentor network as a byproduct of your parent network. You will have to do very little work to find mentors. An online registration process will dynamically create your mentor database, thus saving you many administrative hours. There are several parts to the facilitator training. You will receive one-on-one training as well as having access to the Lifeskills team of professionals. Your training will include the Student Strength Assessment, the Parent Kickoff, using technology, recognition of the student accomplishment,